We were pretty famous back in high school. Trust us!
Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for throwing.
You're welcome.
Thanks for throwing it to me.
Well, I mean, I think I've done the last couple.
Yeah, so it's clearly my turn.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be.
I've got it though. No, I'm going to do it.
Oh, well then stop making such a goddamn stink.
I didn't make a stink. I thanked you for throwing it to me. That's what I did.
I mean,
that's professional news.
Your tone was unacceptable.
If that were the case, I don't think it would appear on the recording.
Your tone?
Yeah.
How would tone not appear on a recording?
Well, if it's an unacceptable tone, the recording, it just wouldn't be able to be picked up by the recorder. So,
oh, I see what you're saying. Now you're being a smartass.
So technically, my tone is acceptable, as evident by.
It's acceptable upon recording standards. It's not acceptable as far as my standards.
Well, I'm only concerned about the recording standards. You know, I don't care that you enjoy talking to me on the podcast. I only care that there is a podcast.
I think the recording standard has always been something to be concerned about for us.
You think so? Hey, everyone.
Yeah.
Welcome to High School Famous, the podcast recommended by 9 out of 10 doctors to induce labor vomiting.
That is not how labor works.
It was.
It was.
You see, back in the
at one point,
back in the time when they thought that the baby actually grew in the woman's stomach, like the actual organ, the stomach.
Oh.
They thought, okay, the baby is going to be born soon. They have to get through. Let's clear the way for them. Let's get as much out of there as we can beforehand. So let's induce some labor vomiting.
Gotcha.
Just to make it less, to lessen the amount of stuff the baby has to get through before it can come out.
So when did they believe this, that the baby was gestated in the stomach?
I mean, we've come a long way, but we're talking like 300, 400 AD, stuff like very early on.
Okay.
Back when we thought, when did leeches come into play for removing disease or poison?
So you're talking, this is okay. So AD. Yeah. So this is after the birth of Jesus.
Yeah.
Where clearly hold on. No, this whole thing, it's all way past. People have been being born for a long time at this point, and I bet you not one time a baby ever came out of a mouth.
No, of course not.
So why would they? So they wanted to get everything out of the stomach so that the baby just would have nothing to block it from coming out of the vagina. Yeah.
So if it's in the stomach, right, and the mother has eaten a lot beforehand, that's just more
because of cravings.
Of course, because of cravings. We all know this occurs. This was just creating more obstacle, more stuff in the way. The baby still, by their theories, came out the same way it comes out. They just thought it was through. Right. It started from the stomach and went down. So they thought, let's clear out the stomach. Vomiting.
Interesting. Yeah. Were they not afraid that the baby would come out if they'd induced vomiting?
They were not afraid of that. Like you said, no baby has ever come out.
They're like, the baby can't come out through the mouth. It's just, it doesn't allow it. The reproductive system, what doesn't allow the baby to go that direction.
Well, they already knew the limitations of like the esophagus and whatnot, where, how easy it is to choke on something, or if you don't chew your food well enough, how hard it is to swallow down. They knew that the throat wasn't able to like expand enough to let a baby come through.
Right.
So they knew it was not going to be a concern.
But the intestines and everything, that was fine.
Well, so, that was before they had the more extensive knowledge of how the digestive system and the reproductive system worked. They thought it was sort of all one connected system. So
could you imagine if it were that way? the baby having to go through the large and small intestine. Just like,
oh my gosh, that's so much. That would take so much longer.
It would take forever.
Because the birth canal is much shorter than the intestines are. I forget how long the small intestine is. It's quite long.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. But and so they also knew that the baby fed off of what the mother ate during pregnancy. And of course, so where does your food go? In the stomach. So they thought the baby's growing in the stomach. That's sort of the area of the body where
it just catches the food quick before you know it hits the stomach acid.
Or it could be like a bird sitting up there with its open mouth waiting for it to fall in. You know?
Yeah.
But honestly, that would be much more like delicious than the way the baby gets nutrients in reality.
Yeah, I don't think the baby tastes it because it doesn't go in through the mouth.
Here's the question. Until the baby develops its own internal organs and its mouth and whatnot, how in that time when they believe this to be the case, how did they think the baby consumed the nutrients? Did it just absorb from the bile?
It wouldn't be bile yet.
No, you're right. It wouldn't be bile yet. Once after I said it, I realized I was being.
I mean, we'd have to ask somebody from that time period what they thought. So we got to get working on that time machine. I'll
start writing letters, and I'll order a carrier pigeon or some sort of other bird delivery system. Because they're going to be freaked out if the message gets to them in any other way, you know.
Well, I mean, if we go back in time, we could just hand the message or verbally ask.
You think we speak the same language?
Depends on where we go.
Yeah, well, let's go somewhere where they don't speak English to make this more difficult.
Why would we want to do that? It's already difficult enough. We have to invent a time machine and then go back in time.
Did English exist in like 300 AD?
But probably maybe a form of it.
When did the English? Because aren't they all Latin based? A lot of those languages are sort of Latin based, right? Spanish, French, English. You don't know?
I don't. Yeah.
So that'd be interesting. When did the English language begin?
Says here, 5th century AD.
Oh, so afterward. So we would be going to a time before the English language really came to be. Maybe it was
Old English,
or there was a form of it.
Well, what year were we going to go back to?
300 AD, so that's 4th century.
Yeah. We'd have to. Old English started around 450. Old English was used between 450 and 1100 AD.
Oh yeah, we're
Middle English. Yeah, Middle English 11 to 15. Modern English 15 to 18, and then late Modern English 18 to present.
So we're gonna have to bring a translator. And but before we even go, we'll have to have the message translated into the language of the area. And
then we'll have to get them to write down the answer so we can bring it back with us and then have it translated back into English.
Couldn't we just?
Unless like you said, unless we brought a translator. But then why would we have to have it pre-translated if we brought a translator?
The translator is just for the verbal exchange.
I'd say we could just use Google Translate on our phone, but there won't be any satellites.
Yeah, we wouldn't have
available we wouldn't get a signal.
At best, 2G, and that's terrible by today's standards. You ever
2
notice
AD.
that? You ever notice that? Like when a new wireless generation comes out, it seems that your phone is so painfully slow when it's on the previous standard.
I don't know if I've dealt with that too much.
Well, it seemed like when you were on LTE, it was great. But let's go back. So you have 3G, right? 3G is fine. You can download stuff, you can view stuff, you can load stuff on 3G. Then 4G comes out. 4G is faster, yes. But then all of a sudden 3G was just unusable. Like you couldn't load a single thing. All of a sudden 3G was 100% useless. You would have just expect it to be as slow as it was already. And then LTE comes out. And so regular 4G now, just if you find yourself on regular 4G, you can't load a website to save your life. But now 5G,
I don't know. I've never had that issue really.
5G is out there, but it's still not even close to being like fully realized,
right,
and implemented throughout the country, so that we are regularly experiencing 5G speeds. And there are plenty of phones that people still have that don't even support 5G anyway.
Right.
But I wonder if that's going to be the case for LTE once 5G is like fully implemented and as robust as they need to be.
I know that at the end, like mid of this month, I've been getting warnings from my phone provider that one of the phone lines on my plan is still a 3G phone, and by the 15th of this month, they are no longer supporting 3G in lower. So that phone's going to be completely unusable.
This is what I was wondering when they say they're not supporting it anymore. Like now, Microsoft is no longer supporting Internet Explorer. It's finally done. Okay. At least either it has crossed that point or it's very soon. So they're all in on Edge. So they say they're not going to support it anymore. And to me, at least on that side of it, what that means is they're no longer going to be providing like security updates, and they're not going to update anything with it anymore. But you can still use it as a browser. So is that the same for something like 3G? Are they just not going to allow you to?
3G will not. Yeah, they won't even. They're not even going to broadcast 3G at all anymore, and it's just gone. So you have to upgrade.
So you have
forced upgrades.
You have a 3G phone?
I don't. No, Iman's mom uses a 3G phone because she doesn't want smartphone, none of that. She's being forced to finally upgrade to a better phone now.
My mom,
which is fine because she's going to get like security cameras on her house and stuff. So so she's actually getting set up through something now that they're going to be getting her a phone and I believe her own phone line and everything. So she's probably not even going to be on my plan anymore anyway.
My mom too was on some old like flip phone forever.
Yeah.
And had not crossed over into the smartphone world. Just too scared of knowing, like,
yeah,
not wanting to learn how to use it, basically.
Yeah.
But last time I saw her on Easter, she had, and this was news to me, but she had upgraded to some very large, I think it was a Samsung phone or something. And of course, as per usual, they got lost on the way to my cousin's house.
Mm-hmm.
So I quickly. I don't use Android phones, so I'm not familiar with how they work. But I very quickly and easily got a little shortcut on her home screen that is it navigates back home to their house.
Oh, so you can just click on that and not have to like punch anything in. It'll just immediately.
It's just going to start navigating back to their house, and that obviously won't help them find anything else, but I'm like, hey, open this and search that, put the address in, and then just go. It'll just tell you where to go. That way you can't. I don't know. I think part of it is they have this reputation for always being late.
Yeah,
and I feel like they like that almost. Like, why would? Because they've never seemed to.
It's awful.
They've never seemed to try to not be late for anything. It got to the point where my family started lying about when things started.
Yep.
Like they would say it started at noon when it really started at 2, so that everyone would be there around the same time. So
yeah, except for the people that are always notoriously on time or early. Then you're like,
well,
shit.
Yeah, they wouldn't lie to everyone.
You tell them the right,
yeah.
You just lie to specific
just my
people.
Parents. Yeah, everyone else knew the right time. My parents were told like an hour or two before it was supposed to be. So yeah,
and then then they were on time.
Yep.
And then that would be the one time that they're like, we do want to get there on time. We're tired of being late.
Yeah, I know.
And they're 2 hours early.
There were a couple of a small handful of occasions I can recall where we were actually the first ones there. This is before the whole we're going to give you a false time thing. We just had our act together, I guess. I mean, we had 5 people in the house in one bathroom, so that doesn't help. But yeah. I know I always had to harp on my mom because it was like she was always getting ready last, like making sure that we were all getting ready. But she would historically take the longest. So it's like, if one of us is going to shower first, she should probably shower first and then take care of everything else afterward while others are showering. But no, she insisted on being last, and that didn't help.
I absolutely hate being late for stuff.
Yeah, I don't. I think there's a fashionably late.
Yeah,
there's an acceptable level of lateness, but not the level of my parents getting to places.
No, yeah, I don't like people waiting on me for like that kind of sense, and like just I don't know, if it starts at if it's a party or whatever that's going to go for X number of hours. Yeah, it starts at 1, it ends at whatever. you show up, you can basically show up whenever. But if it's like, it's, you know, like a wedding, for instance, if the wedding starts at a certain time, get there. Yeah. I've showed up late for a wedding before. I literally, there was literally a wedding we showed up for so late that they were coming out of the church by the time we got there. Like, we literally missed the entire thing, and that sucked. But like, I don't know. I really, really hate being late. And it's like, there's certain people that in my family that are notoriously always 100% late every single time. And it's like, we literally sit around and wait, like, oh, we're going to have dinner at 5 and people don't show up till like 6. So we're literally waiting for an entire hour for somebody to show up so we can start dinner. And it's just like, yeah, that's super irritating.
That's different. I don't like being late. Like, if something starting hinges on when everyone's there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to be late for that. I was, you remember my late to a wedding? Remember Benno's wedding?
Okay.
I was very, very late to that wedding. So much so that when I started driving there, I was driving quite a large number above the speed limit. I want to say the speed limit out there was 70 probably.
Okay.
Do you remember where it was? Like, city-wise? It was north.
It wasn't out in like Alexandria or something, was it?
I don't think so.
Out that way?
Whatever it was, it was a good deal away, and there was...
Yeah, it was like an hour plus drive or something.
Yeah. So I was doing, like, let's say the speed limit's 70. I'm doing 100, 110.
Okay.
But the good thing is, it's a huge open area. There's no forest. Like, if there's a cop somewhere, you can see them from a long ways away.
Right.
And you can react accordingly. So I was like, my eyes were like sharp, and I'm like darting
back and forth
for any hint of a police vehicle, a cop car somewhere.
Yeah.
And I finally saw one. It was way ahead in the distance. I'm like, okay, here's a cop. Slow down. Coast by it. It's already it starts kind of pacing me, and its siren is already on, and it just immediately darts behind me. Like, it was waiting for me. Right.
Okay.
So I get pulled over. I'm like, how did they know? According to the cop, it was a plane that clocked me twice before I got to where the cop car was.
Okay.
And I don't know how it was either inaccuracy or it was either just I had slowed down at certain points, but they said they clocked me at like 84 miles an hour in the 70, which is way slower than what I was doing.
Yeah.
So,
which is excellent.
Yes. And so I was like, oh my God. And I was like, so there was no denying. There was no like talking my way out of it. Like,
right.
They
like,
knew,
no, you didn't actually have a plane.
You're right. So they gave me a ticket, and since it was in a different like county, and it was my third speeding ticket that year, they said I had to go to court in order to deal with the ticket. So anyway, I get to Benno's wedding, and his was one of those like long Catholic.
Yeah, it was a full ceremony, full service.
Had I known that, I could have taken my sweet time. I did not have to sit through all that. The fact that I rushed to get to the super stretched out, long drawn out ceremony, and the fact that I got a ticket on the way, it made it that much worse. So then they said I had to go to court. So I drove up the hour plus, maybe 2 hour drive it was again to wait in line in the early morning to get in line to appear before whoever I had to appear before to either contest the ticket or submit, agree to pay the ticket or whatever it was.
Right.
And it's one of those, you get there early in the morning, you try to get there right away, and it's first come, first serve. So you just have to wait in line, and whatever reason anybody's there, it could take 5 minutes for whatever they need to deal with, or it can take 40 minutes, whatever they're doing. And so I think I was probably fourth or fifth person, and I was there for at least an hour and a half, something like that. Just after driving that long, just kind of putzing around, waiting for my time. And I finally get up, and I said, "Yeah, I got the speeding ticket. They told me I had to come here to do whatever." They said, "Oh, you could have just paid this." I'm like, "What do you mean?" like, yeah, well, you can go over there in that line. There's nobody over there. You could just go up and pay it right now, or you could have called in, I think, and paid it. I'm like, the guy told me I had to come here. They're like, no. I'm like, oh, and I was one of those things where I didn't believe it. I thought maybe this person was in air, like making mistakes. I'm like, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pay this ticket and I'm going to leave and then I'm going to be fine. Right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to do now. Cause I didn't want to have to drive there again or have, you know, maybe I would get dinged.
Get a warrant out for you.
Yeah. Like if I left, cause I think when I went there was like the last day I had of my deadline to take care of it. So I think after that, it would have been like, maybe there would have been a warrant or something.
You know, or the fee would have probably.
The fee maybe would increase.
The
or
fee
something.
might have went up. Yeah. Usually if you just, I think if you would have continued to go on it, then they could have put a warrant out for you. But usually usually they go quite a while before they'll put a warrant out for you.
So I paid the ticket.
What a
and
waste.
I left, and nothing ever
drove
home.
Drove the 2 hours back.
2 hours back. Nothing ever came of it. I never heard of anything after that.
Well, have you been back in that county? You never know.
To my well, if I can't remember.
You roll back through that county and get pulled over, and then they just immediately arrest you.
You have completely different plates and everything now, but we still found you.
Same name.
It is the same name. Well, they would have to. They'd have to pull over a vehicle.
I'm just saying, if they pulled you over for any particular reason, so like you made some sort of traffic violation, they pulled you over, they pull you up, and they're like, yeah, remember that ticket you got freaking 15 plus years ago?
Yeah, I don't remember what year he got married. It was early 2000s.
It would have been probably 04 or 05.
Okay, because I think he married?
I think 05.
Was
05.
he married before Josh or after Josh?
Ooh,
I'm just trying to think of who got married first. Because
it was after,
and I think Josh was 05. But were they the same year? Maybe
they might have been the same year because Benno's wedding was September. I think September 17th. Of whatever year that was. Yeah. Well, I have a reason why I remember it, but
since he openly refused to be on the show with us, we'll have to just find that out.
Yeah, very openly.
He's like, nope.
We haven't asked a ton of people to join us on this show, but Benno was a very quick no. Yeah. He was like, yeah, I'll listen to it maybe, but no, I have no interest in being on it. Yeah. I think since then, I maybe have gotten one other speeding ticket since then, but that alone was well over 10, close to maybe 15 years ago now that I got that ticket. So yeah, I've been pretty good. I just paid 3 speed trap tickets a couple weeks ago. See, now you're calling them speed trap tickets as though it's not fair. Like, well, no, they're just different. Sure, okay, they're just different. Yeah, they're speed cameras. Yeah, not So I mean, they're only $35, so they're not like ridiculous. So it wasn't like hundreds of dollars or anything, but it was $105 total with all 3 of them. Right? Yeah, well, so I got the one in the mail, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pay this at the end of the week. So I don't know why I waited to pay it. I'm just like, I'll pay it at the end of the week. Maybe it was payday. So I went to pay it. Yeah, probably, but it was like $35. I don't know why I would have waited till payday. But sometimes I just do that in my head and be like, well, I get paid Friday. And even though it's such a small amount of money, I'll still just wait to pay it just because it'll be on the next check, not this one. Ha. I don't know. But so by the time I went to go pay it, I checked the mail and I got another 2 more in the mail. 2 more. I'm like, damn it. Yeah. So when I went and looked online, all 3 of them were in there. I'm like, well, I guess I'm paying 3 tickets now instead of 1. I guess better that I waited now. Well, no, so I can pay them all at the same time as opposed to pay 1 and then get another ticket in the mail and pay 2 more. Yeah, that's the one. I guess the one bright side to it. No, there's no bright side to it. It's just like, why do I keep getting stuck? And the funny thing is, I'm still expecting to see another one because by the time I got those in the mail, I know I had gotten caught on a different one like 2 days prior to that first one showing up. So I'm like, well, it's not that one because they don't come that fast. But I haven't seen that one yet, so who knows if they sent me a ticket or not.
So you think
I assume they would have, because if they're like, clearly I'm notorious for speeding at this point.
So you think it's maybe just one more, if any?
One more I'm expecting to see. Yeah. Hopefully that's it. But it's just like, I know where and the thing is like every one of them, like I looked up the address of where the speed trap cameras were. They're all cameras I know exist. They're all ones I know are there all the time, because it's locations I drive like every week.
You just fly through them anyway.
Apparently, well, one was during, like, it was like 1 o'clock on a Wednesday on the street I work on. And I'm like, why? I would have been at work. Why the hell was I driving through there at that time? So I was trying to figure out why I would have been driving through there at that time.
Like, do you ever go somewhere
I should have been working? Or anything? Well, every Thursday I go to one of my customers. So I think I must, and the thing is, I go the opposite way of that camera. So I'm thinking I may have had to like swing home that day for some reason before I went out. So that would have been maybe why I went through that way. And
was it a Thursday?
I believe that one was on a Thursday.
Oh, well then.
So, yeah. and it's there because there's a school there. So when there's children present, you can only go 20 through that area. So I must have been going over 20. Because all the tickets said between 6 to 10 miles over the speed limit.
Sure.
So if I was going 5 over, it wouldn't even have got me.
So here's a question: If Iman did a lot of driving, do you think there would be more coming in the mail?
She does do a lot of driving.
Oh, I don't. Oh,
she mostly gets parking tickets. No, we had a stint where we had gotten like 4 parking tickets like last summer.
A couple of outlaws.
Those ones are worse. Those ones are $60 a pop.
Really? You would think that speeding, since it's sort of a endangerment, that it would be worse than parking.
You'd think.
But parking, I suppose, is probably a hot commodity.
Yeah.
Out in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I think it's, they pay people to walk around and collect those tickets. So
I've watched Parking Wars. I know all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Notorious.
City of brotherly love.
Yeah.
Why they focused on brotherly love, I don't know.
Because they like the Lawrence brothers.
What is the Lawrence brothers?
Don't you remember there was a TV show called Brotherly Love starring the Lawrence brothers, Joey Lawrence, Matthew Lawrence, and the other one.
I could not pull Lawrence. I didn't know who you were talking about.
Yeah.
That's how far away they faded into obscurity. Wow, I haven't heard anyone reference the Lawrence brothers.
And I think the other guy that was on that show, what is his name? Michael Mache or whatever that he was on. He used to do Who's Line back in the day. The big dude with a beard.
I can picture him, but I don't remember his name.
Yeah, he used to do the British version of Who's Line.
Yep,
back in the day.
And
he was in the movie Richie Rich, starring Macaulay Culkin.
That's right. Oh wait, Richie Rich. I don't know if I know that movie. I know of it, but I don't think I've seen Richie Rich, to be honest.
Yeah, you're fine.
There's no need to rush to it.
Yeah.
There's no need to rush to my local Blockbuster or what was that other video store?
Hollywood Video.
It's Hollywood Video, but there was that one in Elk River that had like the red lettering. Oh, it's gonna bug me. But there's no need to rush out and grab a copy. No. Is what you're saying.
No, I think it's up there with the caliber of Blank Check.
Without even seeing Richie Rich, I will say that Blank Check is probably better.
It's been a real long time since I've seen either of those, so I couldn't give you a good review.
The things you discover,
the fact that I pulled the information of it that I did was amazing. Yeah. I remember there was like a little remote control B too.
Oh, that's high tech.
In it. Yeah, and John Larroquette or whatever was in it.
Oh, from Night Court fame.
Mm-hmm.
John Larroquette. Yeah, he disappeared. He's alive still, right?
Oh boy,
Matt,
part of me thinks I don't know. Go ahead.
Speaking of speeding tickets and parking tickets,
mm-hmm.
What is your?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Okay, good on you, John Larroquette.
Yeah, way to live.
Let's way to
way to be alive.
Way to exist, John Larroquette. Let's keep our fingers crossed for a Night Court reunion of some kind.
Yeah.
Were you a big Night Court fan? Did you watch Night Court?
I used to watch it back in the day.
I watched a fair amount of it.
Yeah.
Anywho, what would you say is your worst crime you've ever committed?
And gotten caught doing, or just
sure.
in general worst? The worst thing I've ever gotten caught with? I mean, just normal traffic violations, probably, as far as caught. Worst thing I've ever done and not gotten caught for?
This might be a High School Famous exclusive.
Yeah, I'm not one to commit
I'm not one to
crimes,
get caught.
Really. Well, no, I don't think there's anything real crazy that I ever did. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, there was this kid in town that was a prick, and his family was out of town.
Prick murder.
No, I didn't kill anybody, but like his family, like they were all out of town for something, and some of his toys were out in the yard still, and me and some other kid, I don't even remember who I was hanging out with, but we, for some reason, had a way to produce fire, and we like set fire to a bunch of his toys.
So arson
just melted them in the street.
Yeah, a form of arson.
Kind of, I guess so. It's a form of arson. Yeah, we melted some of his toys in the street.
You're like, gosh, I can't really think of anything. I don't really do much. I guess arson.
Arson. Yeah, arson. I mean, not like bad arson, just mild arson. Good
arson. There's a spectrum. There's an arson.
Yeah, I was on I would say the mid to low end of arson for me. I mean, we made sure it was away from anything that would have caused important. A huge fire. We made sure it was. We melted the toys in the street, so there was nothing else that could catch fire around them.
We made sure this child's toys were away from anything that meant anything to anybody.
Well, we weren't going to burn them next to the house.
Of course not.
Because that, if the house had caught fire, I was smart enough for that, Sean. My dad was a volunteer firefighter for 28 years. I'm smart enough to know where I should light a fire and where I shouldn't.
So that's why you did it. You knew your dad could get you out of it.
He would have been able to cover it up.
Yeah, he knows what to do.
No. Otherwise, I think we were getting in an argument with some other neighbor kids once, and they were being assholes, and we pulled a knife on them.
Threatening with a deadly weapon.
Other than that,
like, man, I don't know. I was a pretty good kid.
We got in trouble for that one.
I mean, aside from traffic violations, I didn't really. I mean, I just burned somebody's personal possessions, and I threatened to stab somebody. That's all.
We didn't threaten to stab them. We were just threatening them with the knife. Like, hey, we got a knife.
I didn't threaten to. I suppose that could be considered. It could be a threat to slice or slash.
Yeah,
not necessarily stab. You could do other things with a knife, I suppose. But I like how you. These are serious crimes.
Yeah, you're bringing up some memories here.
Wow.
How about you, Sean? What's your worst crime? Grand theft,
trespassing,
larceny.
Trespassing. The time
trespassing's your worst?
Yeah, the time Ed and I hopped over this fence into the skate park that was closed in the middle of the night, and we were skating in the skate park, only to find out that I guess there's someone nearby that keeps an eye on it, and they called the police. And when the police started approaching, we quickly hid underneath like the half pipe or something to try to wait it out or not be noticed. But the cop lied and said that they had a dog, and that if we don't come out, the dog will find us. So we crawled our way out, and nothing happened to us. Like they said, they just
told you to leave.
They just said, yeah, there's someone who keeps an eye on the place. They called us, so get out of here. I mean, the only other time I was taken in the back of a cop car to like a juvie type of a thing, because this is another thing with Ed, but I think we might have talked about this on the show.
I know this. I don't know if we talked about it on here, but I'm very aware of this
Yeah. So we would go, there was a certain summer when, it must have been the summer that you and I were 16 that we went like very regularly.
It was probably. Well, no, I don't think we were really doing it during the summer. We would always go out Friday nights after school.
Oh, is that
usually
right? Well, I mean, I remember going with Ed a lot during, well, maybe this was just the next year and it was happened to be the summer.
Maybe.
Because I know it was the summer before I turned 18. Ed was born in like January of that year of the same year of 82 or whatever. So he turned 18 before all of us did.
Yeah.
And so it was Ed and Adam Brown and I, and we were all skating in Minneapolis like we always did. But this was only like the second or third time that year that I had gone. Like you and I and Ed, like a bunch of us went.
Yeah, we used to go every week.
Yeah.
We'd go.
So we did the exact same stuff we always did. This next
same
year,
places, everything.
Yeah. For whatever reason, this particular year, I didn't go much and I only went a couple of times. Well, this particular time, we got stopped and the cops decided to take, like Ed was the one who drove and he was 18. So he's like, see ya. And he just got to go home.
Right.
But Adam and I got taken in and we had to wait and they called my parents and my parents had to come pick us up. It was like 3 in the morning.
Yeah. All the way from where you lived down into the city. So that took them probably over an hour. At
least, well, to get there, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, I bet.
Right.
And, but, they weren't angry.
Your parents weren't angry?
No.
They're just like, whatever.
I think it's because it's not like this was a regular thing for me. Like, it's not like every
right. And it wasn't like you weren't taken in because you had, busted up a place or like robbed anything. It was just like, it was a curfew violation.
Yeah. What other examples could I come up with? Yeah. I didn't set any things on fire. I didn't pull a knife on anybody. I didn't do anything like seriously.
I mean, you scared the shit out of somebody once by yelling shotgun and running.
I did do that, which is not a crime.
No, it's not a crime.
We were trying. Yes. I'm not sure if this is still a thing, but this is the old thing you do where if you want to secure the front seat in a vehicle, you yell shotgun before anyone else. And we were running toward the car. Maybe it was just me running. I don't remember. But
you probably weren't even running. You were probably skating.
I was probably
the car
skating
at that point because our shoes were typically left. We typically left our shoes in the car.
If that was a time when we were skating, then yes.
It was. I believe it was a time when we were skating.
Okay. Yes. So for those, Matt and I were bladers, inliners, if you will. We did not skateboard. So our shoes were removed, replaced with skates. Respect us or disrespect us, if you choose. I know that
it was the late 90s. It was a thing.
Oh yeah. It wasn't as big as skateboarding was, but it was still a thing. But I know that skateboarders didn't typically respect the bladers because it was not as difficult to do. But I didn't care. I just knew that I didn't have the skills to be a skateboarder.
Right.
The farthest I ever got was ollie. I could never even land a kickflip.
I don't even think I successfully learned how to like balance myself well enough to just roll on a skateboard.
Really? Yes, you did.
No, I was just, I didn't, I never really put forth any effort to even get to that point on a skateboard of just like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. There was a couple month period where I had a skateboard and I was trying to learn how to skateboard and I never even came close to landing. It's not like with a kickflip. There was a couple times where I was close. I think I don't think I ever got the board to fully flip over. It was always landing upside down. So it was a pretty sad sight on the skateboard. Not to say that I was very skilled with it, rollerblades. I could do. Yeah. I never had a big, especially with skates on, because skates are a lot heavier than shoes. So my vertical was never very strong on skates. Right. So trying to hit just a typical handrail was nearly impossible for me. And I was just too scared to try to do it, to really go for it,
Yeah. Yeah, that was always my biggest problem with that stuff. Is just like, I would love to be good at this stuff, but I have a fear of injuring myself.
You have to, yes. Yeah. You have to have that sort of nothing can hurt me mentality that teens typically do. But I was always one.
I think I've always had that ingrained in me of that just fear of my mortality. I'm just like, I could die at any minute.
Yeah. I think that I was confident enough in knowing my limit so that I never really tried anything that I couldn't do, like I couldn't handle.
Right.
So I think that's why I went largely unscathed. I
only remember one time you were trying to do like a handrail outside of like the post office in Elk River. You biffed hard. That's the only time I ever was like, oh shit. Like every other time we'd fall and hurt ourselves, whatever. It was just I sprained my wrist or some dumb shit. But it was like this, you were like out for a second. And like when you came to, you were super disoriented, and it was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was on soap shoes. It wasn't on skates.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I jumped on and I was doing just I don't even know what a regular grind is called. Just a front side, just something.
Something just normal, typical.
So I jumped on just to do a regular front side, and then I was switching to a backside. And when I I was like leaning a certain way, and so I landed on my right foot, and my whole body just flipped up, and I must have like nailed my head or something on the railing and rolled and like fell off onto the concrete.
Yeah, below. It was rough.
Yeah, I can remember getting on, and I can remember the switch, and like just as I start to slip, and I don't remember anything after that. The rest is gone.
Then you just remember waking up at one point.
Yeah, I remember waking up.
Or being in the car or something.
I remember waking up, and I remember it hadn't affected me that much yet. Like, I think it was a slow. Yeah. So then I went up and I did the trick again successfully.
Right.
And then we left. And then
we left, and then, yeah.
Then I started to kind of panic in the car, I think.
in the car you were a little off at that point, and we're just like, all right, well, we're done for the day.
Yeah,
we're just going to go somewhere and chill.
Either
you after that.
Yeah, either the effects took a while to get there, or I kind of realized what happened and like started to just sort of freak out about it. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, that was crazy. I don't remember how much like soaping we would have done after that, but
I don't know.
Either way,
we soaped for a while.
Hey, out there, soap shoes were shoes that had plastic grind plates underneath, so you could hit ledges and rails as if you were on a skateboard or rollerblades.
It was also called aggressive walking, I think.
Yeah, aggressive walking was a term,
or freestyle walking or something.
Maybe that was what it was. So freestyle dumb. Walking.
Which is like so stupid.
But the most popular shoe that came out that had those plates on them were called soap shoes, and so it just kind of became soaping was the term. Now, do you remember?
Yeah, what was the other ones?
I think it was Solomon's.
Solomon's, yeah, because they had the grind plate not only that went horizontally, but was vertically, I guess, the long way.
Yeah.
So most grind plates were just the narrow way or the horizontal way of the shoe, so you could just jump on and like grind like you would on a set of skates or whatever. But yeah, the Solomons had a grind plate down the center, which I don't think ever really worked that great because it was kind of narrow.
Yeah. What's his name? Travis Martini.
Yeah.
I think
he had a pair of those.
And he was always trying to, even when he would do a regular grind that wasn't on the plate that was like toe to heel.
Yeah.
It was still kind of slower.
Because I think the grind plates on those were part of the sole of the shoe. Like it was all just a solid thing. Whereas the soap shoes, you could take off and replace the grind plates.
Yeah,
which was cool because they'd wear down. Yeah, I know you had a few plates that were like you ground them down to the point where you were like grinding on the shoe, the actual sole of the shoe at one point.
That's the other thing too with those Solomons is the plates had to be a hard plastic. But the Solomons, in order for your shoe to be able to flex as you're walking with something running from toe to heel the long way, they couldn't have been a solid plastic plate because you wouldn't have been able to. Your shoe would have no bend to it as you're walking in them.
Yeah.
So it must have been just sort of like an indented groove that was maybe lined with some sort of smooth material or something.
Yeah, like Teflon or something. It's a Teflon coated rubber.
Yeah. Watch me cook eggs on the bottom of my shoe.
Yeah.
And it'll easily rinse off. Yeah, but as far as skating and stuff, I never broke a bone. The worst is like, before I had those, after a while I bought shin guards, cause before I would really wreck up my shins by just not like cutting them up, but just hard.
Yeah.
The bone would hit the corner of a concrete ledge and it just,
or a rail,
oh my God,
it
hurt for a bit. But yeah, until I got those, that was probably, I always had like, wrist guards and the shin guards.
Yeah.
I never had knee pads or elbow pads because I was good at rolling out of stuff or like keeping my balance with, so I wouldn't actually slip and fall. So I didn't have to deal with that much. It was just the shins and it was obviously when you fall, you use your hands to catch yourself. So that's why you need those wrist guards to really take a brunt of that force.
Yeah. They were like metal plated. Like it was a metal angled plate on those. So you couldn't really even bend your wrist down, but
I
was never great. Yeah. I was never great. Like even just my balance was always bad. Just skating around, like I would half the damn time. So I was usually always the guy who would like carry the backpack and like the camera because we were always like filming and taking pictures and stuff. So I was always kind of the camera guy rolling around.
And like, do we have
the
a
worst
bunch
balance was carrying the expensive equipment.
And I don't know how well like video stabilization was back then, but
well, I mean, I typically wasn't skating and filming at the same time. I was usually like
you would skate from
standing still while I would film
one point to the other to start shooting something.
Yeah.
We probably had a bunch of sodas or something in the bag too, like just other
maybe
things.
Yeah. I just remember always one of my favorite memories of us skating was when some dude walked up to us and asked us for a cigarette. And at that time, none of us smoked at that point. He asked us for a cigarette and we're like, oh no, we don't smoke. We don't have a cigarette. He's like, all right. So he started freestyle rapping.
Oh yeah.
And then and when he was done freestyle rapping, he said, you got a cigarette now? We're just like, no, we don't smoke. We don't have a cigarette. None of us smoke. Like, I wasn't holding out waiting for you to like,
perform.
Yeah, I need something from you first.
Right. That's what I don't like about people that go up and basically beg for stuff like that. I was out yesterday and I was parked by a building and someone just pulled up or walked up to my window, the passenger window. And he's like, hey, do you work here or are you here?
Are you here?
He didn't say that, but I forgot what he said after. So he said he was saying he was something like, it's always, they find themselves in a position where they're just short. They're just this short of getting out of a parking garage.
I just need 50 more cents.
Yeah. This guy was like $12 away from, we're in this parking lot and we need 12 more bucks to be able to get out of it. I'm like, probably should have planned for that.
Yeah.
And maybe not.
Probably should have thought of that before you parked on a parking ramp.
Right. But it's always something like that. And I'm like, I literally don't have cash with me.
I never carry cash.
No, I pay most things these days. If there's any opportunity for me to pay with my phone, I pay with my phone. Otherwise, I have one card and my driver's license that's usually with me. And I don't have cash. So he's like, of course, asking for his $12. I'm like, I don't have any. And then they ask like 2 or 3 more times, and you have to keep telling them no, like before they decide this person really doesn't have any money and they move on, or he really just won't give me anything and move on.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're the type of person that doesn't care and will just approach people and ask them for something for nothing, you're not gonna care about what they think or how they feel. You're just gonna care about getting something for nothing. So you're gonna try 2 or 3 more times until they either cave in and give you something or hold strong, and then you walk away.
Yeah, because the thing is, they ask. It's such a blanket thing because you're asking how many hundreds of people a day for money. You're gonna get even 10% of that. Give you $1. You made good money today, and it's a shitty thing to think about, the fact that there are some people out there that do that but don't need to.
Oh yeah.
And then there's so many people out there that really just need a helping hand. And it's like the shitty people ruin that for me, because it's like, I don't want to give money to anybody because I don't know who really needs it and who doesn't. There's some people that I see begging for money that I've seen begging for money for, like, because when I go up to my customer, I have to get onto the freeway and there's the same dude that has been there for the last 5 years that I've been going up to that customer. That same dude is always there on that corner with the same backpack and, the same little bit of possessions. He's got like a teddy bear attached to the back of his backpack that's been there the entire time too. So I'm just like, I can tell that guy really is, he's really doing it. But yeah, the shitty people ruin it for everything because I don't want to give money to anybody anymore.
Well, and it seems
Plus,
like,
I mean, you get asked 35 times a day by 35 different people. It's like, I can't give $1 to everybody.
Yeah. And without knowing for sure who's legit and who's out there just trying to scam people, it seems like the people that are trying to they don't need it. They're just out there trying to get money from you. They're more aggressive, right?
Yeah.
Then there's the people that want some sort of, they have medication on them to help regulate their heart rate.
Yeah. Regulate in what direction?
I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about? The George, I think, from Chicago, when we took the road trip to Chicago.
Oh, I don't remember. What is that reference to?
He showed us he could tell we were not from around there, and he's the one who generously showed us
what is the medication thing?
He said, I forget the name of it, but he's like, I've got this in my bag, but it's not for what you think it's for. It's to help regulate my heartbeat or something.
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
Oh, we'll ask in a little bit later on. We'll ask Mark. He'll remember.
Mark will probably remember. Yeah,
he'll probably remember what it was. But
yeah.
Have we talked about that guy on here before?
I don't know. Yeah, Sean's referencing a trip we took in 2001. Was it?
Yeah, we were going to Chicago to see a concert, and we finally got there. And we had no idea where to go. And so we're just walking our way, trying to find our way to the venue. And then this guy, he walked by us the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
And then he must
probably
have just
heard us talking about like, where do we go?
Where are we? Huh? We don't know. We're in a strange land. And we're
a bunch of 18 and 17-year-old kids.
Yeah.
We're probably all 18 at that point. Bunch of 18-year-old kids in a city we've all never been to before. And we have no idea where we're going.
Yeah. So he
180s
and gets back to us, and he's like, just starts walking with us, and he says, "Oh, I'll show you where to go." And then he, at the end, because he was like showing us a map. Did we already have the map, or did he find the map for us?
I think he provided a transit map for us. I think he had it on him.
So he already. Like drew out. I think he drew out a little. I think he drew out like a path. A route,
where we needed to go,
trains to get on and stuff like that. And then in the end, he asked us for like $20 or he asked us for some money, and I forget what it was.
He didn't ask us for any specific type amount of money. He just said because of helping us out, if we were willing to throw him some money.
Yeah.
So I think we ended up giving like 20-something bucks.
I think all of us had was like a minimum of a $20 because a lot of us we go to run to an ATM and take out some cash, and then you get them in 20s. So I think that's probably what the smallest bill we had on us or something. But he ended up taking that, and then he disappeared. And then I think Mark ended up keeping the map and the pen he gave us, and it was
map and the pen he gave us. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was always a joke.
I might personally have the map now because the map was in the loft.
Sure.
Because we had it on the wall in the loft for a long time, and all the loft stuff, somehow I ended up with all of that stuff.
Somehow.
So
you're like,
yeah, somehow. I don't know why I ended up with it when we tore it all down.
You gathered it all up. You're probably like,
anyway,
I'm going to get rid of this map. No, I'm going to keep it.
Anyhow, somehow I ended up with it. And so I might still have. I'm not 100% if I still have it, but yeah. Well, I mean, amazingly enough, as naive and stupid as it was, probably for us to just trust a random stranger in a city we've never lived in before, he told us exactly how to get to where we needed to go when we got there. He was actually very helpful, so it was kind of worth the money in the long run. He was a super nice dude.
I have a feeling that
hopefully he's out there doing well still.
Are you sure he provided the map? Because
I'm pretty sure he gave us the map.
Hold on. Either he already had it and gave it to us, or maybe once we got to somewhere, they just have them in a certain. Maybe he knew where they have the map.
Because it might have when we got to the L station, he maybe grabbed a map then.
He probably grabbed a map and
started
writing.
Yeah.
Because Mark always,
I feel like he had the map before we got to the train station.
Well, we always joked that it was a $20 pen. We never made mention of the cost of the map. So I think that either it was just a free map that anyone could have got anywhere, and what we paid for ultimately was to keep his pen that he used to draw where we need to go. I think that's how it was. Now
that pen, I don't know of the pen's existence at this point. I don't know where or what happened to that pen, but the map is possibly still around.
I bet you the map is with you, folded up, and you have the pen clipped to the folded up map.
It's doubtful that the pen is with the map.
Oh, yeah?
Because I don't believe the pen was in the loft at all, unless it was also like hanging on them. It might have been kept with the map. I'll have to look. It's going to be in a box somewhere here if I have it.
Don't bother.
Oh no, I mean I'm not. If I ever take time to go through some of my boxes, and if I find it, I'll let you know. But
I'd laugh if you have some stuff like in a storage locker, and you go out of your way to like dig through a storage like a storage locker or something to try to locate this map.
It's not. Yeah, it's not in a storage locker. I know that much. If it's in a box. There's a bunch of boxes on top of my closet. I might have, if it's anywhere, it's in one of those. That's all I know.
Yeah. Well, those are some stories that we've told.
Yeah, we kind of went all over the place here.
We told stories of crime. We told stories of varying degrees of severity, and our adventures with George in Chicago.
Yeah,
it sounds like not a lot, but it's clearly somewhat a lot.
I think we focused on certain things for longer periods of time.
Oh, we talked about like skating adventures.
Yeah, I mentioned that while you were talking just now.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
You didn't hear it?
No. This is we act like we're saying this to you guys so that you know, but we're just doing it for ourselves so that we can remember how to describe the episode.
We're getting to that point in our age where we already forgot what we were talking about an hour ago.
I've been there a long time.
Yeah.
I remember being I remember like in school still. Like I'd call someone, it'd be like summer and I was so bored, I'd call someone, talk to them for a while, then I'd call someone else. And I'd be like, "Hey, I just talked to so and so," and for some reason, and they would ask me what I talked about, and I wouldn't know. I wouldn't remember.
Yeah,
after just having finished the conversation moments earlier.
I thought you were going to say that you would call somebody else and talk to them, but then forget that you'd called, and then call the first person again, forgetting that you had talked to them already.
Oh, that would be funny. But what I have done is I have dialed a phone number as it's ringing. I've forgotten who I dialed. So by the time someone answers, I don't even know who to ask for. This is back when everyone
who is this?
This is back when everyone still lived in their parents' house. No one had cell phones, and so you call a house phone, and whoever in that house picks up, you have to go, "Can I talk to so and so, or is so and so home?"
Yeah.
So
is Chris there or something? Yeah.
And so I'd be like,
So yeah, unless they answer the phone and say, so and so residence.
Or like
you gotta hope it's one of the people that answers the phone like that, like
right, yeah. Or like so and so speaking. No, they're like hello. Yeah. You would just say hello. No one where we came from at least was formal enough to say tattoo residence. No, we just go hello, and then this is even before caller ID. So you just say hello, and then you go. I would go. I'm like I don't remember who I was calling. This is Sean. I'm in. I think I would say how old I was or something. They're like, "Oh, you must be calling for so-and-so." I'm like, "Yes, that's it."
This is Sean. I'm 16. Like, this is the weirdest way anybody's ever called my house before.
Yeah, I know that's happened a few times back then. But
it's like just a weird, that's such a weird, scary thing to think of now, of just like calling a number, forgetting who you called, but then telling them who you are and what your age is.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that. I don't recommend doing that now.
Well, depending on your age. If you're old enough.
Well, yeah.
Whatever. But
if you're old enough, it doesn't matter.
Like
if you're old enough, it's weird in a different way. Just like, my name is Matt. I'm 39. Like, that's weird in a different.
That's weird. That's weird all for its own reasons. But if you're like a young teen, you're like, "Hey, hi, who is this? My name's Sean. I'm 14 and my body's changing and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm very impressionable. How are you,
14
sir?
And my body's changing.
So it was a more innocent time back then, and so I don't think anybody thought.
So
I mean, no one thought anything weird of it. Like this is inappropriate. People just thought like this kid's an idiot, or maybe they're nice enough not to think
call
that.
Somebody
like, oh, let me help him out. Oh, poor thing. You must be calling for Jason. You know.
Oh, poor thing. You must have Asperger's.
Yeah. We don't know what that is yet. Do we know what Asperger's is?
Some young autistic boy named Sean called earlier.
That'd be so funny.
Said he was 14. He was going through some changes.
That'd be so funny if like I had some sort of like all the parents of parents of children in our class thought there was something going on with me that wasn't.
Yeah, like Sean. I mean, they probably did, but in a different way.
Yeah,
because you were pretty out there and weird back then. I mean, not that you're not now, but like I think no, now
it was dialed up for sure.
Yeah, because I think now you're more like I need to at least be somewhat presentable within society.
Yeah,
to the fact that now you'll like dial it back a bit, and be like you self filter a little bit more than you probably used to back then.
Oh yeah. Well, I came to that realization one time. I was like, man, it was more when I was just being like a jerk a lot versus just being goofy. But I was being like kind of, I was just like, people, if I am just like this all the time, people are genuinely going to dislike me.
Yeah, they're going to stop wanting to hang out with me.
Let me just ease
Then
up.
I will be calling phone numbers at random because I won't know who they are, just trying to make a friend.
That never happened. That's not what I was doing.
No, I was saying that's what you would eventually have to do if people stopped liking you.
Then I would, it wouldn't be me forgetting who I called. I'm not calling someone I know and just forgetting. I'm having to call strangers and hoping that they will
just make a friend. At that point, very bad idea to say, I'm Sean, I'm 14.
Yes.
And I'm going through some changes.
Can you talk me through
and
it?
And be like, I'm Bob, I'm 53. I am ready to help you
with those changes. Here's my address.
Yeah.
There was
is it close enough to skate to?
Can I? Yeah. Oh my gosh. There was a woman who used to work at the shopping channel I worked at only when I was in the customer service building when I first started. She started getting very she would get either she would give customers that called in her phone number or she would jot down their phone number and call them when she was at home just to talk.
That's weird and so wrong to do.
I mean, that got discovered and she got fired. But it was like you could tell that because a lot. I mean,
she had to be a little off.
Well,
mentally.
to be fair, like a lot of the customers, like the people that will call in and just want to chat, are very lonely. Either they're elderly and they're maybe bedridden. Like there was a lot of people that they'd be very open to tell us about what's going on with them and why they're in the hospital, why they're bedridden.
I've got the gout.
Right. So those people they'd want to hang on the phone with you. They wouldn't call in for a specific, let me just take care of this issue I've got, or let me try to order this or whatever. They want to talk to somebody. And so this woman must have maybe had a similar mentality where she's like, I'm just lonely enough and I want to.
Yeah.
But she was married and had a child. So anyway,
I don't know. There's a mental illness there for sure.
Yeah. Then you got the people that would call in and be inappropriate. When women would answer. Yeah. There was a time when I was there was a certain station, I forget what it was called, but there was a station you would sit at where you would monitor when people were going on break and how long they've been on the line and how long they've been whatever. And so if someone was on a really long call, you could be like, go over and see what's going on and see if you can help them get off the call. And I remember, so sometimes you could plug in your own headset and just sit back and listen to it.
Yeah.
And there was this one woman, her name was Wendy, and she was on the line and she's like, yeah, this person's being really weird. I don't know what's going on. And so I plugged in and I was listening and whatever they were doing was over. Like the person, it sounded like the call was ending, but the Wendy was just like, oh, yep. And if there's anything else I can help with, but it sounds like I resolved everything, whatever. And then the guy was like, oh, no, trust me. You've really helped me out. Like, you really helped me out today. And she's like, oh, yeah, well, I'm glad to help, whatever. He's like, no, you don't get it. Like, you really helped me out this time. Like, he just kept saying it. And so then I was like, yeah, so, sir, if there's anything else we could do. And he's like, and he quickly hung up because once he heard there was a male on the call, the guy's voice popped in. He's like, whoa. He hung up pretty quick.
That's so wrong and gross.
Yeah, that didn't happen too often, but it happened every once in a while.
I hope not.
No, I mean,
I feel like common occurrence. People are constantly using. Was this at the phone company?
Yeah, yeah.
People, it'd be really fucked up if for a common occurrence, people are calling into the phone company that they pay money
no, it's
to.
Not a phone company.
Okay.
This was the shopping channel.
Okay, this is still the shopping channel.
Yeah, this is still customer
but
service.
Still, I wasn't sure which one you were referring to, but
funny
use
enough,
it as a sex line.
Yeah,
so fucking. Ugh.
Funny enough, and I know we're going a little long here, but funny enough,
that's fine.
Connection to the phone company. I'm in training at the phone company, and we start taking calls as practice. And there's someone who's kind of monitoring everything and making sure we're saying the right things and whatever. And all of a sudden, someone comes on and they're talking kind of weird and they're saying kind of weird things. And because of that, I was just quickly like, well, sir. Whatever, if there's anything related to this that I can help you with, otherwise I'm going to need to end the call, blah, blah, blah. I just was very formal about it. And then he left the call, and it was the guy a couple seats over just messing with me.
Oh, really?
He got on my line somehow and pretended to be sort of getting aroused by the conversation. And he was like, wow, he was very impressed with how I handled it. But
we're like, well, oddly enough, I've dealt with a very similar situation.
Yeah. So
that's so crazy and shitty to think about that. That's something that definitely does happen to a lot of people that have to do phone customer service. Like, I
mean, women especially. I'm sure it happens to the occasional man, but it's sad to say, but I'm sure that women just have to deal with it so much more.
Oh God, yeah. That's, dude. Guys are so fucking creepy and wrong and
They are.
Like, man, yeah, it's fucked. On that note, see you next Tuesday.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We are on TikTok now, which makes us even cooler. HS Famous. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at hsfamouspod. Email us directly at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. We have Patreon too, but you'll never go there. Altogether, our hearts beat as one.